Now it says live.
Now it says live. There we go. So now we're live. We're not dead.
Live from Canton, Georgia. It's Wednesday night.
Yeah. Live from Springfield, Missouri. It's Wednesday night. This is not now. Now, if you're live from LA or you're live from New York, you get a good host. But if you're live from Springfield, well, you're stuck with me, folks.
Oh, you're a host.
But
you should have your own.
To your viewing pleasure, I do have joining me at the bar tonight, pulling up a stool, is in my opinion one of the best beer reviewers on the planet, if not the best, is John the Bruguru. And I've said this before to other folks, but since I have you here personally, I'm going to say it to you. There are 3 reasons why I think you're the best beer reviewer. You always give background information on the brewery. You always tie a personal story to the beer, and then you give detailed tasting notes. You do those 3 things in every beer review you give.
Well, thanks, Tom. I just do what I do. I just like to have fun, and I don't think I'm any better than, there's a lot of other great beer reviewers out there, and I think you're one of them. I don't watch a lot of video reviews, but I watch yours. I like yours because of you're down home and folksy.
Yeah, I am.
Yep, you're honest with your opinions, and you don't give a shit what anybody thinks, and that's good. That's refreshing, and you're on the mark too. A lot of times when I watch one of your videos, if it's a beer that I've had or if I eventually try it, my impressions are a lot of times just like yours. So that I think that's very important too, and that's not something that's common these days. I like to watch Dave Coulter's videos and Scott White and Jeff Lyons and a few other people. But you're part of a select few, I think, that really nail them. So,
well, thanks. I appreciate. I actually consider what I do more commentary than beer review, but I appreciate your thumbs up. It means a lot coming from you.
Oh, you do both. You certainly do. So I think the important thing in a beer review is to tell somebody what your honest opinion is and what you get out of it. And you do that, so
brutally so. So you've got some vintages tonight of Anchor, our special ale, and we talked about it a little bit, but I just want you to kind of go back over it again.
Yeah, we just went over them in the last session, and I think it was wise on your part to break them into 2 to keep it brief, and if an hour can be called brief, but hey. It's free entertainment
for a beer session. That is pretty brief.
And I've got the Anchor, our special ale, the penultimate Christmas ale, I think 2012, and I've got the 2013, and I've got the 2014, and I'm drinking the 2015 as well. And I took sips out of each, and in the last video I gave some impressions on each one of them, and that's what I'm drinking right now. And
now that you're still drinking those, are you noticing anything different that you didn't notice, or is it have they changed since they've warmed a bit?
Well, I would like to say that they have, but I just started at this point. I'm just enjoying them. I'm sitting back, and there's 2 things that you can do as a beer reviewer, and it's sometimes it's tough because you're always analyzing and you're trying to break it down, and what am I getting out of this? But sometimes you just want to sit back and enjoy a beer. And I did my initial impressions, and I had allowed them to warm a bit before we started the first session because I didn't want to go into it with them right out of the refrigerator. So I'll rely on my original impressions, and now I'm just going to enjoy drinking them. So,
well, we were talking about pairing the beer with the glass in our last session. So I'm having the Diamond Bear 2-term double IPA. I figured I had a couple big malty beers. I needed to do something different, so I went double IPA. The Diamond Bear 2-term is 9.9%, 90 IBUs. It does have a more maltier feel than most coming out these days, but I am using my Diamond Bear glass that I got last year while we were in Little Rock. Diamond Bear is one of those breweries you don't hear of much, but I got to tell you, I mean, I don't know why people would want to go to Little Rock, but they have well, that's negative. I didn't mean it to be so. I'm just saying, if you're looking at destinations, Little Rock may not come to mind, but there's a lot of great craft breweries out there, and Diamond Bear is one of them, and they're just knocking out some great solid beers. And this double IPA is brilliant for a lot of reasons, but mostly because it's not like anybody else's. I mean, it's real popular these days to do these tropical fruit salad IPAs, I call them. And not that there's anything wrong with them, but they're all I'm slurring my words now. They're all starting to taste the same. Mango, papaya, pineapple. I mean, they're all the same. Here I have basically an old school double IPA. There is some fruit in there, but it's just a big beer all around, and that's why I love this beer. That's one reason I love Diamond Bear is because they go their own way. They're solid. They do great beers, but there are a lot of great breweries in Little Rock. You've got Stone's Throw. You've got Flyway. There's just so many great ones just popping up these days. So,
well, that sounds like a good enough reason to visit Little Rock to me. If there's a lot of great breweries.
Works for me. Well, it's funny, people. My wife and I are kind of different. We're married 21 years, and the funny is we have very few hobbies that are the same. So people are usually kind of. A lot of folks don't think we do enough things together, but we do a lot of stuff together. But I think what's important for a relationship to work is I think you basically have to have the same core values, but you don't have to have all the same hobbies. You look at these dating sites and say, we match you 100%. I said, damn, I wouldn't want somebody that thinks exactly the way I do. You know what I mean? Without having that spontaneity, without having to be able to say, hey, you want to learn about this, or hey, you want to learn about that. I'm not sure I want to date somebody that thinks exactly the same way I do. Right out of the box, would you?
No, and we're the same way. My wife and I are. We have a lot of things in common, but we have a lot of things that, she doesn't like a lot of the same movies that I do, and she doesn't drink beer, and she loves crafting and different things. But hey, she's a woman and I'm a man, and that's very different. That's why we're attracted to each other in the first place, right?
Keep it simple. It's a kiss method. Keep it simple, stupid.
Yeah. Opposites attract, and that's why. So
my wife's a big crafter too. She really loves crocheting and quilting. And unfortunately, over the last couple months, she hasn't been able to do any because she had to have carpal tunnel release in both hands. And then about 3 weeks ago, well, actually exactly 3 weeks ago, she had gallbladder surgery. So she's had a tough 3 months.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, Tom. That's rough. My wife she's that's her thing, but it's good. You have we have a lot of things that we like in common too. So for us, most nights, a relaxing night of TV on the couch with the dog on our side is that's our thing. And then when we find we've got a lot of shows that we like in common. We like to travel and do different things, and we both like to cook and eat. So there's you have so many things that you have in common, but you got to be different people too. So so it's all good at the end of the day.
Yeah, I like to joke that I married my designated driver because my wife doesn't drink either. So it worked out perfectly. See, my life would have gone a whole different direction if I'd have married a party girl. It just would have been ugly for both of us.
Yeah, that could be.
So you know me, John. I like to have a little whiskey from time to time as well. So I'm going to change the subject slightly to show you what I've got here. I've got the Crown Royal Northern Harvest Rye, which was in the Jim Murray Whiskey Bible, if you believe in such things. It was the World Whiskey of the Year. And that's it right there. But I also have another one here. I'm kind of doing two side by side to compare them. I have the Knob Creek Rye. I've got a shot glass of
That's a small bottle, huh?
Yeah. Sam's. Sam's had a three small bottle set that had the rye, the bourbon, and the smoked maple, and a shot glass for $5.71. So I picked up 2 sets.
571. Wow, that's not bad.
3 bottles and a shot glass. Yeah.
Can't beat that.
Back to our love of shot glasses or glassware. See, it's not just beer glasses for me. For me, it's any glass. Anything alcoholic I can dig. So, but no, I'm not going to shoot these. I'm going to kind of sip both of these as we go here. But while I'm working on this double IPA, so let's talk about what shall we talk about now? So tomorrow is New Year's Eve. So what plans do you have? You got any special beers left?
Believe it or not, I usually don't drink on New Year's Eve. I used to, but of late, I prefer to wake up fresh on New Year's morning and laugh at everybody else with a hangover. So that's the way that it's kind of evolved. I used to like to drink beer, eat a lot of Chinese food, and have a Three Stooges marathon every New Year's Eve. That grew out of being a New Englander, and Channel 38 up in Boston used to run a Three Stooges marathon every New Year's Eve when I was growing up, and so we did that every year. So now I don't know why, but I've kind of backed off on having the drinking beer on New Year's Eve. But we do eat a lot of Chinese food, and we still watch a Three Stooges marathon. And
well, we've always done when the kids were littles. We didn't go. I always wanted to be together as a family. I've always drank some because, I am who I am. But traditionally what we've always done is we've brought out, finger foods, and all day long I usually do one hot dish in the crock pot, sometimes just meatballs. This year I'm going to do a big pot of chili, and then I'm also going to cook some chicken wings, and we're going to do other stuff throughout the day. But we've always Seamus and I always watch movies together. That was kind of our thing. So, but we've got a couple old friends coming over tomorrow. My wife's college roommate and her husband. His name is Chris. And Chris actually retired 20 years from the Navy. He was on the sub 20 years, and so I always get a kick out of talk with Chris because he's got so many great stories. And in my mind, guys that spent that much time in the military, actually anybody that's served our country is a hero in my mind.
Well said.
So anyway, they're going to come over for a little bit. Cheryl's going to leave us at some point here, his wife, but he's going to spend the night here with us. So I'm going to try to work out the kinks in my system here and try to do a couple videos with Chris in my pub here, because I want him to talk about, some of the things he's done and seen. And he's got some great stories that he shared with me. So I'm hoping he'll feel like sharing them with, folks that want to join us at the pub as well.
Well, that's cool. And I think traditions are a great thing. And just, however you choose to spend the day every year after year, that's a good thing. I think for me, one thing that's happened to me as the years have gone by is I'm a kind of a rebel, and New Year's Eve is a night where people are expected to drink, and I don't like to do what people tell me to do. So I really think that's become a reason why I don't drink. A lot of people don't drink all year, and then I when I worked at Max Liquors, there was this guy that owned the place named Jeff, and he was a great guy. He was he wore his heart on his sleeve, and he'd do anything to help you, whatever you needed. And he was a bit of a storyteller, but he was a great guy, and he used to call it amateur night. And I really think that's the case. People don't drink all year, and then they get drunk as a skunk on New Year's Eve, and watch out for that. And to me, I don't know, it's almost become let them have their fun on New Year's Eve. I drink my beer throughout the year and enjoy it, and that's the one night where everybody seems to have the obligatory alcoholic beverage, and it's come to me to the point where because of that, I've chosen not to. But I still have.
I always drink, but yeah, no, I refuse to go out. I don't participate in amateur night. We always have done it at home, and I always make sure I have plenty of good beer and whiskey. Because I like both. I've always, I think part of it is a lot of folks want to wait till 8, 9, even 10 o'clock sometimes, and then power drink and just be seriously wasted by midnight. And I'm kind of one of those guys that likes to pace myself. I'll have a beer I sometimes I start at noon. I'll have one beer or one whiskey, and I'll bring out a snack food at 1 o'clock and 2 o'clock. I just kind of pace myself all night long. It's always a new beer, whiskey, and a new food about every hour.
Yeah, and that's the that's great. I mean, if you're doing it for a different reason, you're enjoying the flavors of the beer and the whiskey, and you got your reasons for enjoying them. But I think a lot of people don't do that. They just, hey, it's New Year's, we got to get drunk. So.
That's kind of the difference between craft beer drinkers or even a whiskey guy, small batch or micro distillery drinkers as opposed to macro drinkers, because I don't slam shots. I don't drink 30-pack beer. Guys like us, we drink every beer. We kind of relax and enjoy it.
Yes.
It's a whole different process. We're not now. I'm not knocking the buzz. I'm not saying I don't get drunk upon occasion, but that's usually not why we start drinking. It's to enjoy each beverage, and I think that's a fundamental difference.
Yeah, you drink it for the flavors. I mean, I just came back from a little bit of a week over a week of having a cold, and I don't drink because I can't taste. And what's the point of drinking? To me, if you can't taste it. So we do drink for the flavor, but by the same token, anybody that tells you, any craft beer enthusiast that tells you they don't drink for the alcohol too, is lying through their teeth. So
well, no, I mean I've always said that's a pleasant byproduct, but that's not the reason I drink.
There's too many
more. At 50, now at 20 it was a different story, but at 50 it's something different.
Yeah, but I think for me, it's as I get older, it's become just for that night. I like to eat a lot of Chinese food, and one thing, if I eat a lot of food and drink beer with it, then I'm going to be passed out by 9 o'clock, and I'm not going to make it to midnight. And one of the things they do down here that they didn't do up north is they shoot fireworks off at midnight too. So we like to stay up for that and watch the fireworks go off, and so that might be part of it too. And so then I just drink my beer on New Year's Day, and then have my hangover the next day when everybody.
Everybody is, yeah, there you go. Yeah, we've never had one specific kind. For us, it's always been finger foods or some sort of hors d'oeuvres all day long. We usually have like I said, one main kind of hot dish and everything. This time it's going to be chili, but I'm also going to make some chicken wings at some point. And
well, good old Red Rooster can tell you some stories about boatloads of Chinese food from House of Wu, and guzzling Old Nick and bottles of Chimay. And we in those days, I did drink a lot of, I would do the whole 9 yards, and we'd watch Three Stooges on Channel 38 and eat like crazy and drink a lot of beer. And we had some great times back then. But
now him and I have had two great pub conversations. The last time we were joined by the youngster Scott White. Scott's a real interesting guy.
I saw that. Yeah, Scott
is fun, right? Because it gives you a different perspective. Because Red and I and you are near the same age, and Scott's got a whole different perspective. So it's interesting to hear his take on things.
But he's wise enough too that okay, so. Us old guys, we don't know everything. We like to think we do, but when I look at a lot of the things going on in the beer world today, and there's the old timers bitching about stuff going on, sometimes I think we're right, but sometimes I wonder about, well, you know what? Maybe we're just being like our parents were, and we just young generation. So they may be onto something, but Scott's, I think, to his credit, he's wise enough to be able to discern between the two. He looks askance at anything that's new, and keeps the old in mind, and kind of balances the one against the other. So I think that's rare. I think that's a rare quality. So I always.
Well, while many young guys do think they know everything, while I said old guys may be wrong, the youngsters do tend to think they know everything, and Scott's smart enough to know and to listen to a lot of us old guys.
Yeah, and us old guys think we know everything too, and we don't.
We do, because don't we?
Well, we
No,
do it.
it's ridiculous. I think that's the funny thing is nobody knows everything, but you do have that experience. I mean, you can't you can't negate that experience.
We have the benefit of experience, but sometimes you get set in your ways, and I think that jades you into a certain view, and you look at the younger generation with a negative eye, and I think let's be clear. Our parents did the same thing to us, and we ought to be smart enough to realize that they weren't always right either, and maybe we're not. So
Well, every generation talks about the good old days. So,
they do.
I guess were the good old days really all that good?
No, I don't, maybe they were for us, but not for the kids of today. So,
It's true.
yeah.
Oh man. So let me tell you a little bit about this whiskey I'm drinking. Not that you give a rat's ass, but I'm going to tell you anyway. You don't drink whiskey at all, do you? I know Red does. Him and I have talked about whiskey, but you're not a whiskey guy.
Many moons ago, I did. I had some brewer friends that surprisingly drank more whiskey than beer, and I used to drink scotch with them, but that was a long time ago.
So I've got two ryes here, and I was curious to try them both side by side. I've got the Crown Royal Northern Harvest in this glass. And in this other glass, I've got that Knob Creek that I showed you, the little bitty bottle of that. And what I'm noticing most on the nose is that, I want to be honest here, I'm talking about 80 proof whiskey to 100 proof whiskey. But the Crown Royal is a little sweeter, and it's actually a little spicier on the nose as well. It's both sweeter and spicier on the nose. The Knob Creek is, as you would expect at 100 proof, much bolder on the nose. I'm going to take a drink for you. As you can see, I'm just taking nice small drinks. So I'm not slamming anything here. This is a nice whiskey. Again, Jim Murray said it was World Whiskey of the Year. I don't know if it deserves all that, but the truth is it was $27 a bottle, and it's worth $27 a bottle all day long. It's a very nice whiskey.
That's for a 375 or
No, it's
750? Fifth?
Yeah. This one right here was $27.
Well, that's not bad for a fifth.
No, not bad at all. And the Knob Creek, though, actually only runs 30 a fifth, so it's not much more. It is bigger, it is bolder, it's woodier. You feel more oak. So here's the thing. I don't like to say better. I don't like that word because I think better implies quality. I think both of these two are great quality whiskeys. But if you want a smoother, more balanced rye, I'd go with the Crown Royal. But if you want something that's bold and in your face, I'd go with the Knob Creek. Or you can be like me and buy both, depending on what mood you're in at the time. So, hey, John, in our session number 2, I don't want you necessarily to rehash the notes, but tell us about your feelings as you're enjoying your Anchor Special Ales.
Well, I'm enjoying obviously the 2015 is the freshest, the most robust. I don't think it's a product of solely being the newest one, but I think this year's batch just had more to it. But the prior year still, they have that character that makes, to me, our special ale. It's got that piney, sprucey, fresh Christmas tree flavor. It's got the fresh gingerbread, the eggnog character, and the robust spices to it. And so I think, I think these are great beers. I was a little, I'm a little behind on my Christmas winter beer drinking this year because I had.
You were sick, yeah.
I was sick for a week, but also, so my brother was down here from Rhode Island, and he was here for a week, and it's the first time he's been here to Georgia from Rhode Island, and he doesn't drink at all, so I really didn't drink much, while he was here, and we just had a great time going out and doing things together. So there was that week, and then the week I got sick, and so I lost a couple of weeks of being able to enjoy all these beers. It was well worth it for the week my brother was here, not so much for the week I was sick, but now I'm trying to play catch up, and I'll tell you what, 4 years of Anchor R Special Ale definitely make up for it. So fantastic.
So let me ask you a question. Do you can I talk about where you live or the area
Yeah,
you're
of
from?
course, by all
So,
means.
so you're near Atlanta, right?
Yes, I'm probably about 50 minutes north of Atlanta. Yep.
So in your area where you are, what you have favorite craft breweries in your neck of the woods?
Oh yeah, there's actually the craft beer scene is just getting better and better and better here. Sweetwater is probably the biggest and most well known, and they do a lot of great beers. They price their beers very reasonably, and they're all fantastic. Um, I very much like them. Red Brick is older. They were originally Atlanta Brewing Company, and they do some fantastic beers too. I had a sweet potato brown ale from them
Oh wow!
a few weeks ago that was just killer. It was a piece of sweet potato pie in a glass. It was phenomenal. But there's so many smaller breweries too, like Jailhouse in Hampton, a little bit south, and they do some fantastic stuff. They're probably one of my very favorite. They used to be my favorite brewery here, and I hope they'll forgive me for saying that Three Taverns in Decatur now is my favorite because they have one of the three Belgian brewmasters in the country, I think, and
Wow!
yeah, he's related to the Belgian brewer at New Belgium. So they just do phenomenal stuff, and they're top notch in my view. But Savannah is exploding. There's Service
Now, how
Brewing.
far is Savannah from you?
Savannah's like 2.5, 3 hours from me, so they're not too bad.
Okay.
And we go there from time to time. Service Brewing is fantastic there. There's a couple other breweries in Savannah, and here in Canton we have a brew pub that's supposed to open. That's about 3 miles from my house, but they were supposed to open in September, and they keep delaying and delaying. But I'm hoping they open soon. And we got tons of brew pubs and breweries. Orpheus in Atlanta does some great Belgian stuff and sours and lots of great breweries here. So okay, and as much as I complain about the laws are archaic as far as this is the ironic thing about how breweries and brew pubs can sell beer in growlers. We've got growler shops all over the bloody state. And we've got one here in Canton, Stouts Growlers. Maybe you've seen pictures I post from there. I go there all the time, and you can get a growler pour of anything there. So lots of good stuff. So
now, does that brewery a bottle?
Which one?
The Three Taverns, I think you said.
Oh yeah, they bottle Three Taverns bottles. Yep.
Because of the others you mentioned, you've sent me beers, but I haven't had the Three Taverns.
I've never sent you anything from Three Taverns.
Nope. No, I've had the Red Brick, the Jailhouse, and what was the other one you mentioned? Red Brick, Jailhouse. There's something else.
Service. I think I sent you the ground pounder or the Service. Okay, I've got to send you some Three Taverns then, because they do some fantastic Belgian style beers. So
my wife and I have always wanted to travel to Savannah because the research we've done and the books we've read, it seems like an interesting, eclectic town.
It is. It's cool. I call it New Orleans light. It's very
New Orleans light. There you go.
It's very much like New Orleans. In fact, you also can like New Orleans, like you can go a couple streets up from the river, and you can buy a beer at Blue Moon Brewing. No, Brew Moon rather. The brew pub there, or any of the bars, and you can get it in a cup to go. You can walk around the street.
Really? Wow.
Yeah, just like you can in New Orleans. So it's a lot of fun. It is. It's better now than it was last time we've been there because there's more breweries there. Service and I wish I could remember the other. I've had too many our special ales to remember the other breweries there in Savannah, but there's other good ones there too. And Service is cool because it's founded by veterans. So that's the.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Oh, you have sent me. You sent me.
I think I sent you their IPA.
You did. Okay. Yeah.
Yep.
I knew I had something from them. Yeah.
But then the other nice thing about here in Canton is, we've got Stouts Growlers, and we've got the brew pub coming at some point, but I've got Taco Mac like 2.5 miles from my house within walking distance. So it's nice. Taco Macs are all over Georgia, and that's the nice thing here too. So
We don't have those here. Are they just a Georgia thing?
Georgia, South Carolina, and Tennessee right now. So
Okay. Well, I hope they get my way at some point. Yeah, I get my wife healthy again, and we'll start saving some money. We really like to get her way.
well, if you do,
And so I think my wife would have a lot in common with your wife. They both like to craft.
well, we'll get a cab, or we'll get my daughter to. I have my designated daughter to drive us around.
Yeah, well, we'll get a cab. Yeah, I mean that's yeah.
They can do it.
Now you know me. I never ever drink and drive. Not once.
No, you
I
probably.
mean, I won't say I never had, but since I met my wife, no, I'm on a straight and narrow.
I operate by the rule of two. If I am driving, then I don't have any more than 2 beers, and I make sure I eat with that. But if I know I'm having more than that, the nice thing about Taco Mac being so close, I know if I'm going to watch the Patriots play, if they're not on TV here, I'm going to drink more than 2 beers, so I walk, and then I'll take a cab home or get a ride home or whatever. But
Yeah, because the walk there is better than the walk home if you're, been.
well, I walk there and stumble home.
3 miles is a long walk after you've been drinking.
I don't know. No, sometimes it's actually a short walk, but
Really?
it depends
I
on
don't mind walking sober, but drinking, I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this walk is taking forever.
if we win, then it's not so bad. But
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Hey, you don't want to take that loss. I'm a Rams fan, so I'm used to going 4-12 every year.
well, I've been a Pats fan since '78, and let me tell you, we had our years when we were that bad. So you just hang
I've been a
on.
Rams fan since the day I was born. I mean, I grew up in Southern California, so I mean, my dad got me a Roman Gabriel jersey when I was 4 years old. So I just didn't change teams. I moved to Missouri, so I'm now they're a St. Louis team, but I've never changed teams. That's been my team. I'm a LA Dodgers fan. I'm a Rams fan, and I don't change teams.
No, neither have I. I mean, I've been a Pats fan since like I said, '78, and then I moved down here in 2001, and that's when we won our first Super Bowl. And my brother told me, whatever the hell you did, don't come back, because they've been winning ever since. So I'm not allowed to come back in the team. But I still follow them, So
There you go.
whatever I did when I left, it was good for the Pats.
So you were the jinx, apparently.
I guess so. Now that I'm gone, they keep winning.
Those bastards. Anyways, son of a gun. You like the fire behind me?
It's great. Yeah, that's actually a cool touch. But
You
it's been
want to
crazy.
make a fire like that?
Has it been? Do you actually have a fireplace?
No, I don't. That's my TV, actually.
No, I know that. I know it's your TV, but we don't have a fireplace either. But it doesn't get that cold here that often. And this month it's been crazy. It's been 70s all December, and that's not normal for us. So
The other day, my wife's sitting on her chair, and she looks at me, says, "I'm cold." I said, "Well, let me turn on a fireplace." So I clicked it on. She did not think that was funny at all.
what's the temperature there now outside?
Outside, I think we're low 30s today.
Oh, okay. That's more like winter weather. But you guys have had some flooding and stuff too, right?
We have oh gosh, last weekend I guess we had 3 or 4 days of constant rain. Has flooded a lot of towns. It's been rough. So I'm planning on making a pilgrimage to one of my favorite breweries, Piney River, on January 2nd. But that's kind of contingent on if the roads have dried out, because they were flooded. They were flooded completely.
I
So
still
if we can
remember
get there, we're going to go there on the 2nd.
that Piney River hot date you sent me one. Oh man, was that good? That's probably the best
Yeah, if
beer.
I can get that again, I'm going to send you another one. That beer is just awesome.
But
I love that. They had actual dates in Chipotle. They're not manufacturing flavors. They put dates and Chipotle in that beer, and that's what I love about those guys.
That was a great beer.
I tell you something about that brewery though, Piney River. Husband and wife opened that up, Brian and Jolene, and they both maintain day jobs even to this day.
Really? Outside the brewery?
Outside the brewery, yeah, they both have other jobs other than the brewery. In
Why?
fact, they just recently hired a another brewer because for the long time Brian was doing all the head brewing, and they've added some other brewers now. I think at some point they probably will, but yeah, I don't know. I think it just kind of shows the instability of the craft beer market. I think they're unwilling to give up. I don't know if unwilling to give up is the right word. I think that they're just. I mean, they
They're
want to
hedging
make
their
this
bets.
brewery work. That they're both still maintaining their jobs so they can give the maximum to the brewery as well.
They're hedging their bets. Gotcha. Okay. Just in case.
They're just not giving it up, yeah. But man, for a long time they're working. They were both working full time and doing all the brewing, just the two of them. And they've just recently added more brewers, and they've increased the hours at their tap room. So
Well, most of the breweries I see that close today, to be honest with you, um, it's not because of lack of demand. It's because the for whatever reason, the owners just want to do something else. Or I've seen that a couple of times. Dave Coulter was talking about a brewery, and can't think of the name, but in Cleveland. But they did that, and somebody else just did it too recently. But it's not because the business was lagging or they were losing money. It was just because I guess they get tired of it and want to do something else. Which I don't understand why they don't just sell the brewery and brand, but
yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
whatever the reason.
Piney just underwent a big expansion. They opened up a big new brew house where they could start doing more barrel aged. They hope to do more barrel aged stuff and more sours in the future. So they're really looking, but they're both. I mean, they both work day jobs and do what they do. It's just amazing how much they work. They're just great folks out there.
How do you have time to drink with all that work?
I don't know, but they manage. Hey, I met the beer biker out there a few months back, and that
Yeah,
was a whole lot of fun, man. I
he's a
mean,
good guy.
he brought me so many beers. I brought him 10 beers. He brought me 21. I felt like I cheated him.
No, he's a great guy, and
It was a hoot, man. We I don't know. We stayed about 3 hours at the brewery. Then we went out to eat, and then we stayed in Houston, Missouri, which is not. If you start hearing dueling banjos play too loud, make sure your door is locked and clench your cheeks.
lock my car too. Yeah, okay. I will make sure.
And don't squeal like a pig, whatever you do.
Eric's been.
Here, Ned Beatty. Oh, good. Sorry. Yeah. No, Eric was great. It was a lot of fun.
I first met Eric when I went up to. Of course, he and Red are longtime pals.
Yeah.
And, when I went up to DC for Beer Hunt of the movie, for the premiere of that, we in DC I stayed with Eric, and that was a lot of fun because I went out with him and Red, and we hit a couple of breweries, and then we went downtown DC and hit a couple more breweries, and then we went to the screening, and then of course he's been to my house and stayed here a few times in his various travels, and one of those times we hit Taco Mac together, and then we went to Stouts and picked up some growlers and came back and drank them. And one of the highlights of my beer drinking career was the fact that, and probably Eric's too, was the fact that he and I split a draft growler of Sprecher Black Bavarian. At a time, it wasn't available in DC, and very much rubbed it in the nose of the Red Rooster. So,
Oh no.
yeah, that was his comment.
Oh no.
His comment was, "You bastards," and
You bastard.
that was a lot of
That's
fun.
just mean, man. That's just
Um,
mean.
but an occasional bit of Schadenfreude is good for everybody, I think. So,
Schadenfreude. That's German for taking pleasure in somebody else's
misery.
fortune. Yeah.
Yeah. And we certainly had our share of Schadenfreude that night. But anyway, yeah, we had fun. He's a great guy, and he always brings great beer. And I think you called him Beer Santa Claus or something like
I
that.
did. Yeah. He's the craft beer Santa Claus because he drives across the country delivering beer to good boys and girls. The craft beer Santa Claus. Yeah. I don't know if you like that or not, but that's what I dubbed him.
It was appropriate. So, yeah.
Oh my gosh, you brought me some great beers. So here's the problem. I thought I drank them all, but recently, in fact, the other day, behind a jar of olives, I found a beer from Liquid Hero Brewing Company, their American Hero Amber Ale. So I'm going to do a video. I'm going to do a video for that tomorrow. But the reason I found it yesterday, I guess I found it. The reason I want to save it for tomorrow because I want to share that beer with Chris, who spent 20 years on a sub, and I think is an American hero. So I'm going to split that with him and dedicate it to Eric as we do the video.
Oh, that's a good one.
Oh. So, any last thoughts on your Anchor Special ales, John?
No, other than don't be afraid to age them. They hold up. They're wonderful beers. I know they do come out, fresh every year, and you should enjoy them that way too. But it's fun just to, hold on to them for a couple of years and see how they compare from year to year. So they're going to be good. The ones that I've had have certainly held up. I'm not sure I'd say they've improved, but again, it's hard to say because they're different. They make them different each year, and it's fun to just see how different they are. You can reflect on them and think about how they were in past years, but when you got a bottle in front of you instead of a frontal lobotomy, then that tells you a little bit more. So
that's always been my tagline. I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy.
Yeah. So
the Existential Blues. Should we start singing it now?
Existential Blues. You can sing it. I don't know it, but if you want me to.
Well, that's where that line's from. I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy. The Existential Blues.
I can sing a few lines from Erlkönig by Schubert, but
so here's what you need to do. When we get off here, you need to get on YouTube and look up T-Bone Burnett Existential Blues, and he'll use the line, "I'd rather have a bottle in front of me than a frontal lobotomy."
Will do.
I'm trying to remember some other lyrics from this song. I was going to try to sing it, but I can't remember enough at the moment. Anyway, it's amazing. I went to another place for a second there. T-Bone Burnett, yeah. The guy was a genius. He had one song. He was a comedian. He had to do this one tune, but it was absolutely brilliant. It was like a Tom Lehrer's Element song, you know. It was but for folks that were just wasted. It was a song for, anyways. Hey, I'm Tom the Beer Whisperer. I'm with John the Bruguru. Obviously, I've ran this session too long because now I've kind of buzzed. And now that I've caught it, I just can't let it go.
Well, you remembered your name. That's an accomplishment.
Well, once you catch a buzz, are you willing to let it go, John? Can you let it go and catch it again, or you just want to keep it?
Yeah, you just pick it up a few days later. Yes.
This is Tom the Beer Whisperer. I am with the great beer reviewer, John the Brew Guru Starogdumsky. Thanks for sticking with me. I am starting to slur my words, so I'm going to stop right now. Because I am actually drinking. Unlike a lot of folks that do beer stuff, I'm actually drinking the beer I'm talking about, and so is John, and we will see you when the pub opens again.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year to everybody, and to all, a good night.
God bless us, everyone.
Thanks, Tom.
There we go. Oh, damn, I am getting hammered now, man.